I made Zoro's first katana, the Wado Ichimonji, out of cardboard, and by the time this video ends, you will be able to do the same. Greetings adventurer, it is I, Jeb the Boxsmith, the internet's king of cardboard. This is a free template that's available in my Ko-Fi shop. Just download it from the link in the description, print out all the pages, and you are ready to rock. As a fan of One Piece and an avid reader since Wano, I knew I absolutely needed to have some of the series' most iconic weapons in my collection. And what better place to start than with the man who made putting a sword in your mouth look badass. So, without further ado, let's begin. Take the first sheet of the template and a cutting instrument of your choice. I myself am partial to X-Acto knives, though scissors work perfectly fine. Cut the template out along the black lines. I've been asked in the past on whether or not you're supposed to cut outside of the black lines or inside of the black lines, and to that I say, it doesn't necessarily matter as long as you're consistent. I personally cut outside of the black lines, though cutting inside of the black lines won't do much except maybe make your prop marginally smaller than if you cut outside of the black lines. I just said the words black lines more times in this one take than I have all of last week. Oh, the funny things you end up doing as a YouTuber. Cut out all of the pieces and take inventory that you've got everything. Every piece you see here, labeled A through V, should be present in your template, along with a duplicate. Now let's tape some stuff. You're going to want to take pieces A through E and tape them together in alphabetical order. The tape that you choose to use here does not matter. I chose electrical specifically because it happened to be closest to my desk. Had it been clear, duct, or painters, I would have used one of those instead. Now that the first piece of the sword is complete, we're going to move on to the second piece, starting with piece F all the way down to piece J. Tape them together like so. With all said and done, you should have the following 3 pieces. There are obviously more to come, but this is what we'll start with for now. Time for the cardboard. Get yourself a decent box cutting knife and a reasonably long piece of cardboard, about 43 inches when unfolded. What you're seeing me do here is a little bit of prep work, kinda like when you debone a fish. What I'm after specifically is a long, uninterrupted strip of cardboard in the center, which, to get to, I need to first cut off all of these flaps. But, like any good butcher, I will be using everything. So, these flaps will be used later on in this build, partially for practicality, partially for sustainability. Next, we're gonna take the template pieces that we taped together, and now I'm gonna show you how to attach them to the cardboard. The answer is the humble glue stick. Apply a healthy slathering of glue onto the backside of the templates, glue them to the cardboard, and cut them out. Once done, you're going to want to remove the template. The glue from the glue stick should ideally be just strong enough to cling to the cardboard, but just weak enough that you can easily remove it. Though if you tear it while removing it, do not worry, it's not a big deal. That's what the duplicates are for. Finish taking off the last template and you should be left with the following 3 pieces. The main blade, the detailing, and the handle. Now we're going to do something a little bit different. I'd wager that most of you at home don't have an absorbent amount of cardboard like I do. So instead of cutting up an entirely new box, I'm going to show you how I used the flaps from earlier to make the backside pieces of this sword. Everything you're seeing right now could of course have been done easier with a second box and the duplicate template pieces. But being a boxsmith isn't always about what's easy. It's about using creativity to turn limitation into innovation. I am the cardboard cosplay equivalent of a level 20 wizard today, but I wasn't always that. I had to start somewhere, so I'm teaching you how to do the same. Now, what is this that you see before you? If you said wooden stick, you're half right. This wooden stick, or anything similar to it, is what we boxsmiths refer to as a spine. A spine is anything inserted into a cardboard prop to give it rigidity and strength. For this katana, I opted to use popsicle sticks, because much like our community, when they're together, they become stronger and are capable of reaching greater heights. They also have a nice sleek profile that works well with the katana's thin blade. Upon seeing everything fits together, it's time to glue it down. My personal carry for a hot glue gun is a Sure Bonder dual temp chambered in 10mm Gorilla, though really any glue gun will work just fine. It does not take a lot of innovation to heat up resin. With everything ready, I am so tempted to begin gluing things together, but for this build I promise to do something I once said I'd never do. Paint. That's right, the gauntlet is coming off. You belligerent goobers finally wore me down, and now your persistence is being rewarded. I'm painting a thing. I am somehow both very proud and very annoyed, but I digress. For the base of the blade, I'm using Apple Barrel brand Pewter Gray Matte Acrylic Paint. Though any gray paint should work fine, this is just what my local Walmart had. After a couple coats, I'm satisfied with how it looks and flip it over to begin the other side. I wasn't happy with the center of the blade still looking the color of cardboard, so I dropped a few bits of paint in there and brushed until I was satisfied. With that, the base blade was finished and we had no more need for gray paint. Next came the detail layers, which I decided to color jet black. Typically when you use acrylic paint, you want to thin it with water. That is not the case here. Water and cardboard don't play nicely even when painting. So what you want to do is brush the paint onto the cardboard raw. Now, at long last, we can start gluing things together. Using the flaps from earlier to cut out these pieces means they had to be painted and assembled separately. Though, because there's a sturdy spine within the build, this becomes more of an aesthetic choice than a design flaw. Now we get to the handle pieces, which I painted antique parchment, which is just a fancy way of saying white. Once dried, glue to the bottom of the handle. No, your handle's not unusually short, that gap is supposed to be there. We'll deal with it later. Right now, it's time to put all the painting stuff away because we are getting back to our template cutting. Grab some cardboard flaps and the rest of your templates and we can begin. Ah, my old friend, how I've missed you. Cut some pieces out. You're going to need M, N, O, P, and Q. We will be painting them all khaki tan, though gold could also work. You may have noticed that these 3 pieces don't have a duplicate. That's because they don't need one. They're all you need. Glue the 3 of them together and you have your handguard. Take your blade, take your handguard, make them do whatever this is. Glue them together, glue this thing on, glue that thing on. Make sure you do it on both sides. Voila, you've got the base sword. Now let's make the sheath. I made the sheath while live on stream, which is why the camera looks a little bit different here. What isn't different is the process used to treat the template. That is very much the same. Cut out the template, tape the pieces, glue to cardboard, cut the cardboard, Bob's your uncle. Make sure to duplicate all of the pieces, cut out said duplicates, and take inventory of everything. This next part I want you to cut out is not included in the template. Several smaller inch-thick strips of cardboard or one really long 1-inch thick strip of cardboard. This will serve as the thickness of the sheath. Now we get back to some painting. I'm using antique parchment again for the bulk of the sheath so it matches the handle. If I wanted to be a tad more accurate to how it appears in the anime, I would make the sheath a little bit darker, but I think a uniform sheath and handle looks better in person. All of the pieces are painted white except for the decorative elements on the bottom and top. Those get to be khaki. With everything painted, it's now time to glue things together again. The decorative pieces go on the bottom and the top of the sheath's side profile. Whether a bunch of smaller pieces or one really long piece, the inch-thick filling stands straight up inside of the side profile. Though when using smaller pieces to make the filling, make sure that they are in a staircase pattern. This keeps the sword from jamming on the inside of the sheath when sheathed. Oof, try saying that 5 times fast. Apply the top of the sheath to the sheath. Apply the detailing pieces to the sheath. Finish up with the long ribbony pieces of the sheath. And marvel at your work. Congratulations, you have now completed the Wado Ichimonji. Thank you for joining me on this journey of cardboard creation. But before you go, there are a few words I would like to say in light of some recent events. This is Brock, known to me and many others as Subbits Little B. Brock is a member of our community who has recently passed away. A skilled boxsmith, aspiring musician, and a regular in my Discord server. Always eager to share with us what he was currently working on. He was creative and innovative. Given enough time, I'm sure he could have surpassed even me in skill. We never know for sure how much time we have on this earth, so it's important to make the most of it. Though Brock's life was short, he certainly did just that. And now, in whichever paradise his soul now resides, I'm at least glad that he is no longer in pain. Though we back on Earth will certainly miss him, and the joy he brought to our lives. Rest in peace, Brock. 6 more strings in heaven's choir.
Cards lay out astray, all from your command. That's the way